Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Bit of a weird video today. I'm halfway through one of the projects for the channel, that 12-volt generator, but I'm waiting on parts for that, so I thought I'd do a quick video because it's been a couple of weeks. I'm speaking to you now from inside my brand new 20-year-old 3 Series convertible. Not a bad old bus, but we've got a bit of work to do to it. What I'm going to do today, just a very quick job, is I'm going to install a radio into it, but I'm going to show you how to do it by cutting away the adapter plug, because they're actually it's unbelievable that they're still expensive to buy for these things, and there's really no need to use one if you know how to wire one straight in. So I'm going to go through how to identify all the wiring and how to go about installing a radio from scratch. This could work for any car. I'm not using amplifiers or anything like that. I'm just putting in fact I'll show you. I'm putting in this old-fashioned Blaupunkt radio. I had it lying around. It's standard ISO fitting. I'll show you those in a second, and I'm going to wire it straight into the car's original wiring. It's really easy to do. I mean, people take things to to the auto electrician or wherever to get it done. They get charged a fortune, and it's so simple to do. So I'll spin the camera around. It's going to be a bit tight in here today, but I'll try and go through. The first thing I'll do is I'll show you the tools you're going to need, and then I'll go through how to identify all the different wiring. If you can hear a lot of noise, it's because it's raining outside at the moment and it's pattering on the roof. Okay, first things first, let's have a look at the tools. Okay, so let's have a look at the tools we're going to need. First things first, I'll just show you the wiring that came out of the car. Now, it had before, I'm going to search around and make a load of noise, but if I can find it, I've just basically what it was. It was a huge multi-plug with all this stuff here that went into it. So what we've got to do is identify what all these cables do, and basically make them correspond to what is on the back of the radio, which is all this stuff. So it looks complicated, but the reality is it's only a radio. There's only so much it's doing. And the good thing with ISO fitting, this is this standard plug on the back here. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. That's gone in a bit better. All the wires, I won't get it on the camera, but I'll just tell you what they are when I get round to it. They're all labelled, so I know what, for instance, this one is the permanent feed, the red. I know that because it says it on the side of it. Yellow, that's the switch feed, ignition feed, so when you turn off the ignition, so it's not the ignition feed at all. It's the permanent feed, so when you turn the ignition off, you don't lose all your radio stations. What else we got? 2 blacks, they're earth. This one, let's go through them while we're here. Illumination, so when you turn on your headlights, the radio dims, that's what that one's for. Blue one, I know that one is for the electric aerial, so when you turn the radio on, the aerial goes up, but this car doesn't have that. And that's on like the power side of the connector. And then this side, this bunch here, they're all the different speakers. So we've got 1, 2 greens, and they are for... This is actually standard. If it's ISO connection, they're all the same. So this one is... Oh, I don't know, I can't really see it from here. I'll have to get a bit closer. But you've got 4 speaker outputs. And that's all there is there. So if you actually separate them apart, this is all speakers and this is all power. That already makes it a lot more simple. And obviously this one over here is the antenna. So, what do we do now? Well, I said before, I got ahead of myself, we need to look at the tools. First thing we need to do is identify what's what just here. So the first thing we're going to need is one of these. You can use a test light, which is basically a light bulb, with an earth to it. Or you can use this. This is just a cheap multimeter, and we're going to turn this one because we're doing DC work in a car. This car runs on 12 volts DC. If you're using a lorry or anything like that, the theory is still the same, but that'll run on 24. So voltage DC, which is the straight line with the dots. 20 volts, so that means this is now ranged to sense up to 20 volts DC. Perfect for what we're doing, because we're only up to sort of 12, 13. We need one of those. We need a pair of wire strippers. I like this kind. There's all sorts of different kinds. I like that kind. And some terminal crimps. I'm going to put this one in using crimp terminals. You'll see me do that in a minute. I like this particular kind, the ratcheting kind. The other sort, they don't get hold as well, you get wires falling off. But there we go, they're not very expensive. And trusty pair of side cutters, just for cutting wires shorter and what have you. Now, yeah, there's a multitude of tools you can use for doing this, but that's what I'm going to use on this job. So the first thing I'm going to do, I need to identify the permanent live feed I'm going to put to this radio, and I need the switched live. So what I'm going to do, first things first, for the multimeter, I'm going to find an earth for it. So obviously the power I'm testing here can go through the meter and down to earth. Best place to find it on this car is right here in the cigarette lighter socket. Now when you look at a cigarette lighter socket, the outside ring, that's earth, and the power's right down at the bottom on the pin. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put that in there and give it a good push, and that's now stuck in. So I've got a good earth, and I know that works because I've cheekily tested it before I started the video. I'm going to put that there, and I happen to know, because I've just been playing with the roof, that I've got a feed down here. So if you just keep an eye on the meter, you can also use the bottom of the cigarette lighter socket for this, but it's a bit fiddly. Or the battery indeed. So there, that's now showing 12 volts. So that means I've got an earth, and I've just tested it on a feed that I knew was there. So I'm going to separate this wiring a little bit, and if you take a look, these ones here, they're all twisted together. I will lay you a pound to penny that they're all speaker wires. So I'm just going to put those out of the way for the moment. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. 6 speaker wires, which is going to be interesting because I've only got 4 outputs. It's got 2 tweeters in the doors, that's why. And what have we got here? We've got the antenna. That's simple enough. Only one there looks like that. There's a few different sorts, but that's pretty standard. We've got a white one. Nothing on these wires is they don't label it for you. They're not that nice. We've got that one there, red and grey. Big one. I would suggest that's probably going to be power of some description. Okay. And another big one, and another big one. So I've got 3 big ones just here. What I'm going to say they are, I'm going to test them in a moment using the meter. I'm going to strip them back, so I'll just start the video again before I strip them. But I'm actually looking for 3 different power inputs. I'm looking for a permanent live, straight from the battery, obviously fused. That goes into the radio all the time. It never turns off. That holds your radio station. Then I'm looking for a switched live, which comes on with the ignition. That's so that that's what actually turns the radio on. That's what it runs off of when you. That's why your radio doesn't work when the ignition's off. So that's the switched. And then there will be, I would imagine, one in here, which is a feed from the side lights, so that when you turn on your side lights, the display dims. So I'm going to strip these back, and I'm going to test them. I'll do that now, and I'll start the video up again. Okay, so we've stripped these wires back now. So I've only gone back a little bit, make sure I've still got a good earth. There's been many a person tricked by the meter falling out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to literally touch the end of this and see what we've got. So that's telling me now that the red and white, I've got the ignition off at the minute, everything's turned off, and I've got a feed there. So that is my permanent live. So we'll just keep a note of that, turn him out of the way. Now the brown one, I've had a quick look at this before I did the video, nothing happens with the brown one. So I don't know if I'm supposed to put something down that for like an electric area if the car had it or anything like that, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's entirely likely there'll be some wires spare. Now this wire here is white and purple. I don't know how the colours are coming up on the video, but as you can see there's nothing on that at the moment until I turn on the ignition. I'll do that, and hey presto. If I wiggle that earth a bit, it'll come up some more as well. It's just, it keeps falling out, so. He says and it all disappears. Come back, there we go. 12 volts-ish. There we go, you see. I've just got a bad earth. But that's the switched earth, that's the switch feed. So that's good. So we've got those 2. While I was at it, as I said, we're after 3 feeds, we're after illumination. I actually assumed it was going to be this brown one, and it wasn't. I don't know what that does. It ended up being this little fella. So all I'm going to do now is, same again, I hold on to the wire, hold it onto the contact. I'm just going to turn on the side lights. Boom, there you go. So that's going to tell the radio that the headlights are on and dim the radio so it doesn't blind you at night. Great stuff, turn the side lights off and it disappears. Simple as that, great stuff. So, next thing to do is to wire it into the back of the radio. All I'm going to do I don't know if I haven't got 7 pairs of hands, so I don't think I can do this on film, but all I'm going to do, I'm going to be using the terminal crimp, some inline connectors. I'm just going to crimp it all in. If I cared a bit more about the car, I'd probably solder it, but the reality is it's only an old car, so I'm going to put it in with crimps. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you take it to your auto electrician, that's exactly what he's going to do, but it's just not quite such a good job. The other thing I'm going to need is an earth. I'll have a look around for one of those. Actually, this brown wire could be the earth, couldn't it? We'll check that. I'll check that out and let you know. The other thing I need to do, before we start connecting any wiring up, when you get your new radio, it will have one of these things wrapped around it. Now that actually slots, the wiring slots through that and it goes in the dash. That's called the cage. That's what holds the radio in place. They're really simple to fit. They fit straight in like that. They push into the dash when the wiring's not trapping it. And they have these little tabs on the back, you can see them there. You bend them out with a screwdriver and that's all that holds the radio in. So I'm going to do that as well, but that's really, really simple. And 9 times out of 10, if you're taking a radio out, there's a cage in there anyway, so it doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to connect all these wires up and then I'll show you how to figure the speakers out. Back in a tick. Okay, I've done that, so we've got the plug in the radio, I've put the cage in as you can see. It's just the little tabs that fold down to hold it. It's a bit difficult to show that actually on the video, but it is pretty self-explanatory. So all we've done, we've crimped all those connections to the relevant places. We've got the live and the switch feed, which is that one and this one. We've got illumination wire on there, and we've got the earth. That brown wire, I couldn't figure it out. That was an earth, so we've used that. So the only one we've got left now in the plug for power is for the powered antenna. We're not using that, so that can just stay blank. And that leaves me now with all the speaker wires. So, best thing to do at this point is I'm going to turn the camera off just for a second and keep those out of the way. I'm going to strip back some of these just here, all the pairs, and I'm going to do the same on this, and then it's just a simple case of turning the radio on and putting the speaker connections together until it comes out of the relevant speaker. It's really, really simple. But one thing you can do now you've got the power turned on, there's the radio, we can turn on the ignition like that, and hey presto, it comes on. But nothing's happening yet, it's just showing me the clock. So what I do is just, I don't know, press the button, I think it's this one. Ta-da! 1990s goodness, look at that. So that's all working, and we've got radio too, because I've got the antenna plugged in as well. Best radio station there is. So that's proved all the work we've done so far has worked. I'm going to strip those wires back, I'll be back in a tick, and we will start and get some speakers working. Okay, so back again. What I've done, I've stripped all these colours, and if you look at the plug, I'm going to try and get this in so you can see. Everything on the plug is in pairs too, so I've got a green pair at the front, then it goes to white, then it goes to grey, then it goes to purple. Now, I'll try and get the purple because it'll probably show up better. You can probably see that purple there is a solid purple wire, and the one next to it has got a black tracer. Now the one with the black tracer is the negative, and the one that's the solid colour is the positive. I've had a quick look at the car wiring, and it's basically worked out that the blue stuff is all the way down the right hand side, and the yellow stuff you can just about see is all the way down the left hand side, so that's pretty simple. So all I've got to do now is the same as we did before, is identify which speaker's what. I'm going to do one just so you can see it, then I'll finish the rest of it off, and that's pretty much it, we're done. The reason there's 6 wires here, there's 3 for the right and 3 for the left, is as you can see this car's got tweeters in the door. I'm just going to tee that up to the main speaker, and that should do fine. So basically one of these is going to have 4 wires going down to 2. So let's have a look what wire we need. So we'll do the right hand side first. So this one here says, so we got front right is grey, so let's try and find the front right. All I've got to do, same again on the car, we've got some wires with tracer, some without. And I've got the radio turned on at the minute, and I need an octopus to do this. But I'm going to just join these 2 wires together, just touch them like that. You can't electrocute you or anything. Touch it together and... nothing, because we've got the door card off. That one's the right tweeter, typical. Touch that one and this one, sorry about the picture. And we're going to get some noise, hopefully. If not, I'll do all that again. Hey, no, if I touched it to the right wire it might. There we go. what am I doing it? Oh dear me, it's really difficult. It looks easy, but I need to balance the camera and be able to do everything. Let's just have a look what we got. Make sure the radio's turned up. There we go, crank the tunes up a bit. Okay. Well, let's try these two. Okay, so this wire here is the back left speaker. God knows if you can see it, there it is. So what I need to do now is find the wiring on here that says rear left. I'll tell you now, you won't be able to see it. I'll then just crimp these wires to the back left on the car wiring, and that's that speaker wired in. And then all you've got to do is go through all the pairs of wires, identify what speaker's going to what, join it all together, and you're all done. I'm going to do that off the camera because obviously you can't see anything anyway. I'll show you what I've done afterwards, and that should be us finished. That's how you fit a car radio. So I'll be back in a tick. You can see that's all done. We've got all the wires joined up there. The cage is in. All we've got to do now is slide it back into the cage. The radio works great. I'll turn it on just a little bit. I don't want too much music on the video, but
Huey Green.
Oh, that's talking. We can have talking.
Then she joined Billy Cotton's band.
So that's great. That's all working fine. The only thing to do now, like I say, we just push all that back. We really do with two hands for this, but the wiring just there's a space back there for it. Put that in there, and without trapping anything, just be quite firm with it. Push the radio in, and there you go. That's now scanning, and that is how you fit and wire from scratch a car radio. Really simple. Any questions, feel free to ask. Look at the other videos as well, subscribe, there's all kinds of things going off, and thanks for watching.